Booking an Airbnb always feels simple. You check the photos, read the reviews, pick a place for the night. But staying in someone else's home means trusting things you can't see. And sometimes, the problem isn't the house. It's what knows you're inside. I don't use Airbnb anymore. Not after Portland. Not after Margaret. It's been 8 months, and I still can't sleep in complete silence. I need the TV on, need voices in the background, need proof that I'm not alone in the kind of way I was alone in that house. Let me back up. I was in Portland for a work conference. 3 nights, mid-October, prime season for the Pacific Northwest. My company booked the hotel, but it fell through last minute. Some booking error, they said. So I went on Airbnb, found a Victorian townhouse in the Nob Hill neighborhood. The photos looked perfect. Hardwood floors, vintage furniture, stained glass windows, that cozy autumn vibe everyone chases. 5-star reviews. Margaret is the perfect host. Felt like home. So welcoming and attentive. The price was good. Too good, maybe. But I was desperate. Margaret messaged me within minutes of booking. Warm. Friendly. A little too detailed about the check-in process, but I figured she was just thorough. I live on the ground floor, she wrote. You'll have the entire second floor to yourself. Complete privacy. But I'm always here if you need anything. Anything at all. I arrived around 4 p.m. on a gray, drizzly Tuesday. The house loomed over the street. 3 stories, dark blue paint peeling at the edges, iron gate that creaked when I pushed it open. It looked better in the photos, but it was fine. Charming even in that rundown historical way. Margaret answered the door before I knocked. She was older, maybe late 60s, thin and tall with silver hair pulled back tight. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You must be Sarah, she said. Not a question. A statement. Yeah, hi. Thanks for accommodating the last-minute booking. Oh, I always have room, she said, stepping aside. Come in, come in. The inside smelled like lavender and something else. Something underneath. Stale air. Closed windows. Old fabric that hadn't seen sunlight in years. She showed me around. The stairs creaked with every step. The second floor was dim. Heavy curtains, low lighting, furniture that looked like it hadn't been moved in decades. My room was at the end of the hall. Big bed, antique dresser, a mirror that made everything look slightly distorted. Bathrooms across the hall, Margaret said, standing in the doorway, watching me set down my bag, watching me look around. I'm just downstairs if you need anything. I'm a light sleeper, so don't worry about being loud. I'll hear you. That should have been my first warning. She lingered, hands folded in front of her, smiling that flat, empty smile. Okay. Well, thanks, I said, hoping she'd take the hint. She did, eventually. But as she left, I noticed she didn't fully close the door, just left it cracked. An inch, maybe 2. I shut it, locked it. That night, I couldn't settle. The bed was uncomfortable, too soft, like it was swallowing me. The room was too quiet, but also not quiet enough. I could hear the house settling, creaking, breathing almost. I tried to sleep. Around 1 a.m., I woke up to footsteps. Slow, deliberate, in the hallway outside my door. I froze, listening. My heart hammered in my chest. The footsteps stopped, right outside my room. I stared at the door. The handle, waiting, turned, just slightly, a quarter inch, testing, then stopped. Silence. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I waited for what felt like an hour, but it was probably only minutes. Eventually, I heard the footsteps retreat. Slow, methodical, down the stairs. I told myself it was Margaret checking on things. Old houses, old habits. Maybe she was paranoid about security. But I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I went downstairs. Margaret was in the kitchen making coffee. She smiled when she saw me. How did you sleep? Fine, I lied. Good. I worry about my guests, you know. I like to make sure everyone's comfortable. There was something in the way she said it. Something that made my skin crawl. I spent the whole day at the conference. Didn't come back until after 9 p.m. I grabbed takeout, ate in my room, locked the door, put a chair under the handle for good measure. Around midnight, the footsteps came again. This time I got up, pressed my ear to the door. I could hear breathing, right on the other side. Slow, even. "Margaret," I whispered. No answer. The breathing stopped. Then I heard it. A soft voice. Hers. "Just checking on you." I didn't respond. Didn't open the door. I waited until the footsteps left again. The next morning, I couldn't find my phone charger. I thought I'd left it on the nightstand. I tore apart my bag, checked under the bed, in the bathroom. Gone. Then I found the photos. They were under my pillow. Polaroids. Old, faded ones. 4 of them. Each one showed a woman sleeping. Different women. Different rooms, but the same bed. My bed. Same angle. Taken from the doorway. I felt sick. I grabbed my things. Didn't fold anything. Just shoved it all into my suitcase. I went downstairs. Margaret was in the living room reading. "Leaving early?" she asked. Calm. Too calm. "Yeah. Work emergency." "That's a shame." She stood. Walked toward me. Too close. "You seemed so comfortable here." I didn't answer. Just left. Didn't ask for a refund. Didn't leave a review. I just wanted out. I blocked her number. Deleted the messages. Tried to forget. But 2 months later I got a message. From her account. "You left something behind." I hadn't. I checked my stuff a dozen times. I had everything. I didn't respond. A week later, another message. Different account. Same profile picture. "You left something behind." Then another. And another. Different accounts. Same words. I reported it to Airbnb. They said the original account was deleted. No record of Margaret. No listing. Like it never existed. But I have the photos. The Polaroids. I kept them as proof. I looked up the address recently. The house is still there. Dark. Empty looking. But there are new reviews on a different platform. Same house. Different host name. Women mention feeling watched. Strange vibes. The host was overly attentive. One review, deleted but cached, said, "I found photos of myself sleeping. I never gave permission. Please be careful." I thought about warning people, reporting it again, but I don't think it would matter. Margaret, or whoever she really is still there, still hosting, still watching. I still get messages sometimes, from accounts I don't recognize. "You left something behind." I haven't gone back to find out what, and I never will. I still check every lock twice now, even in my own home, 3 times before bed, for if I'm anxious. My therapist says it's PTSD. I say it's common sense after what happened in the Smokies. Let me back up. Last fall, I needed to disappear for a while. Bad breakup. Worst job. The kind of life implosion where you just need silence and distance. So I booked a cabin in eastern Tennessee. Remote, cheap, no Wi-Fi, no neighbors for miles. The listing called it rustic seclusion. Perfect for disconnecting, it said. I should have read between the lines. The drive up was beautiful. October in the mountains. Leaves turning gold and red. Air crisp and clean. Winding roads that felt like they led nowhere. I liked that. Nowhere sounded good. The cabin sat at the end of a dirt road, surrounded by dense forest. Small, dark wood, covered porch. Exactly what I'd expected. I grabbed my duffel bag and groceries, climbed the creaking steps, and unlocked the door with the code the owner texted me. That's when I noticed the locks. 7 deadbolts, all on the inside of the front door. Heavy-duty ones. The kind you'd use on a bank vault, not a vacation rental. I stood there, staring, counting them. 1, 2, 3, 7. Huh! I said out loud. Mountain paranoia, I figured. Bears, maybe. Or property theft. But then I walked through the cabin and found more. 4 deadbolts on the bedroom door. 2 on the bathroom. Chains on every window, thick ones, padlocked from the inside. The kitchen window had bars. I laughed. Nervous laughter. The kind you do when something feels wrong but you don't want to admit it yet. Then I saw the note. It was on the kitchen counter. handwritten in shaky blue ink on a torn piece of notebook paper. Rules. Do not open the door after dark. Do not answer if someone knocks. Lock everything before sunset. If you hear voices, ignore them. Do not go outside at night. Ever. My stomach dropped. I read it twice, 3 times, looking for some explanation, some joke. But the handwriting was too urgent, too real. I pulled out my phone, no signal. Of course, I thought about leaving, getting back in my car and just driving. But it was already 5 p.m., and the sun was dropping fast behind the mountains. The roads up here were dangerous in the dark. I'd already passed 2 hairpin turns that made my palms sweat. I decided to stay the night, just one night, then I'd leave in the morning. I locked the deadbolts, all 7, made dinner, tried to read a book by the fireplace. Told myself the note was just the owner being overly cautious. Paranoid. Maybe someone got spooked by wildlife once and now they overcompensated. But I couldn't shake the feeling. Around 10 p.m., I locked myself in the bedroom. For deadbolts, I checked them twice, pushed a chair under the handle. I tried to sleep. Around 2 a.m. I heard it. Knocking. Soft at first. 3 taps. Pause. 3 more. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. Came again. Louder. Deliberate. On the front door. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Then I heard the voice. Hello. A woman's voice. Soft. Scared. Please. I need help. My car broke down. Please. I stared at the bedroom door. Every instinct screamed at me to help. To open the door. To be a decent human being. But the note said don't answer. Please, she called again. Louder now. Desperate. I'm freezing out here. I just need to use your phone. My hand hovered over the deadbolts. Then I heard it. Another voice. Deeper. Male. She's not answering. My blood turned to ice. The woman wasn't alone. Try the window, the man said. I heard footsteps. Moving around the cabin. Circling. Testing the windows. Rattling the bars. The woman wasn't asking for help anymore. She wasn't saying anything. Then came the scraping. Nails. Dragging down the front door. Slow. Rhythmic. Metal on wood. I pulled the blanket over my mouth to keep from screaming. We know you're in there, the man said. His voice wasn't scared anymore. It was calm. Cold. The scraping got louder. Faster. Like claws. Like something animal. Then the woman laughed. Not a human laugh. Something high-pitched and wrong. I grabbed my phone, still no signal. I texted the owner anyway, fingers shaking. Someone's outside. Help. It didn't send. The noises continued for hours. Knocking. Scraping. Voices that shifted between pleading and threatening. At one point, I heard them on the roof. Heavy footsteps. Something dragging across the shingles. I sat in that bed, every lock secure, chair wedged under the door, clutching a kitchen knife I'd grabbed earlier. I didn't sleep. Around 5 a.m., it stopped. Silence. I waited until full daylight, 7:30 a.m., before I moved. I checked the window. Nothing. No people. No cars. No footprints in the dirt. I unlocked the bedroom door. Checked the cabin. Empty. Then I saw the front door. Deep gouges. Long scratches running vertically down the wood. Fresh. Splintered. I checked the windows. Mud smeared on the glass. Handprints. But no footprints in the dirt below. Nothing that made sense. I threw my stuff in the car and drove. Didn't stop until I hit the highway. I tried to call the owner. No answer. I left a voicemail. Sent emails. Reported it to Airbnb. No response. A week later, I checked the listing. It was gone. Deleted. No reviews. No trace. I searched the address. Found nothing. I did find something else, though. A local news article from 2 years ago. A hiker went missing near that area. Never found. His car was discovered on a dirt road. Doors locked from the inside. Scratches on the windows. I don't know what was outside that cabin. But I know the locks were there for a reason. I still hear it sometimes. When I'm falling asleep. The knocking. The scraping. And I check the locks. every night, twice. I can't explain what I felt in that apartment. It wasn't fear at first, just wrongness. Like the air itself was paying attention. Like the walls had eyes. I was in Tokyo for 2 weeks. Solo travel. Post-breakup healing trip. The kind of journey people take when they're trying to find themselves. I thought distance would help. New city, new language, new life, even if just for 14 days. I found the apartment on Airbnb, cheap, modern, great location in Shibuya. A tiny studio, maybe 200 square feet, but efficient. Japan does small spaces well. The listing photos showed clean white walls, a loft bed, a little kitchenette, big window overlooking the street. The host's name was Kenji. His profile had dozens of 5-star reviews. Great communication. Spotless apartment. Very respectful. I messaged him. He replied in perfect English within minutes. Friendly. Professional. Gave me detailed instructions for checking in. I arrived on a Tuesday afternoon. The apartment was exactly like the photos. Clean. Minimal. Almost sterile. I loved it. Felt like a blank slate. I dropped my bags, showered, went out to explore. But when I came back that night, something felt different. I couldn't place it at first. Everything looked the same. Nothing was moved. But the air felt heavier. Like someone had just been there. I checked the door. Locked. Windows latched. I told myself I was being paranoid. Jet-lagged. Anxious. I set up my laptop on the small desk. Started editing photos from the day. That's when my camera light turned on. The little green dot. Just for a second. Then off. I frowned. Closed the laptop. Opened it again. Everything seemed normal. I covered the camera with a sticky note. Problem solved. 10 minutes later, my phone camera activated. I heard the shutter sound. I grabbed it. My camera app was open. A photo had been taken. Of me, sitting at the desk. I didn't take it. My hands started shaking. I checked my phone settings. Closed every app. Restarted it. I tried to rationalize. Software glitch. Old phone acting up. But I didn't believe it. That night I felt watched. The kind of feeling you get when someone's staring at the back of your head. Constant. Unblinking. Couldn't sleep. I kept the lights on. Covered my phone. Unplugged the laptop. The next morning, I searched the apartment. I don't know what I was looking for, but I found it. Behind the picture frame above the bed. Tiny hole. Barely visible. I took down the frame. Behind it, a small camera. Lens pointing at the bed. My stomach turned. I checked the other frames. The air vent. The smoke detector. 6 cameras total. Hidden. Professional. All angles of the tiny studio covered. I felt violated. Sick. How long had they been there? How many people had stayed here? How many recordings existed? I called Kenji. Hands shaking. Voice breaking. There are cameras. In the apartment. Hidden cameras. Silence. Then, calmly, I don't know what you're talking about. I found them. 6 of them. You're recording me. That's impossible, he said. Too calm. Too prepared. Like he'd had this conversation before. You must be mistaken. Maybe they're old sensors from the previous owner. The building is old. They're cameras. Pointed at the bed. The shower. I think you're confused, he said. Jet lag can make people paranoid. I hung up. Grabbed my things. I didn't fold clothes. Didn't organize. Just shoved everything into my suitcase and left. I reported it to Airbnb. Sent photos of the cameras. Demanded action. They said they'd investigate. But the listing is still up. I checked last week. Same photos. Same description. Different reviews now, though. One woman wrote, "Strange vibes. Felt uncomfortable." Another, "Couldn't shake the feeling I was being watched." A third, "Deleted but I screenshot it. Found something disturbing in the apartment. Reported to authorities. Host denied everything. No one says what. They're too scared. Or too ashamed. I am too, honestly. I filed a police report in Tokyo. They said they'd look into it. I never heard back. I tried researching Kenji. His profile is fake. Stock photos. The apartment might not even be his. I don't know who was watching, or why, or how many recordings exist. I cover every camera now. Laptop, phone, tablet, even the one on my smart TV. I check hotel rooms for holes in walls, smoke detectors, picture frames. I don't stay in Airbnbs anymore. And sometimes late at night I get emails. No subject line, just video file attachments. I've never opened them, but I know what they are. I know who's in them, and I can't make them stop. I thought I was losing my mind in that beach house. For 3 days I questioned my own sanity, wondered if I was hallucinating, having a breakdown, maybe both. But I have the photos. They're real, which means it happened. I just don't know how. Let me back up. I needed a break. My job was crushing me. 60-hour weeks, passive-aggressive boss, the kind of corporate toxicity that makes you forget what daylight looks like. So I booked a beach house in the Outer Banks. Off-season. Late November. Cold. Empty. Perfect for solitude. The house was small. Right on the dunes. Weathered blue paint. Wraparound porch. The kind of place you see in coastal magazines. Rustic charm. Unbeatable ocean views. I arrived on a gray Friday afternoon. Wind whipping off the Atlantic. Not a soul on the beach. Inside, the house smelled like salt and old wood. Cozy. Lived in. A little worn but clean enough. I unpacked. Made tea. Sat on the porch and watched the waves until dark. That first night I slept hard. Exhausted from the drive. The sound of the ocean pulled me under. I woke up damp. First I thought I'd been sweating. Anxiety dreams, maybe. But when I shifted, the sheets were soaked. Cold. Heavy. I turned on the bedside lamp. And screamed. The sheets were red. Dark, wet red. The mattress too. It pooled under me, soaking through to the bed frame. It looked like blood. It smelled like blood. Metallic. Thick. Fresh. I jumped out of bed, heart hammering. I checked myself, no cuts. No wounds. No period. Nothing. I pulled back the sheets, checked the mattress. The stain was massive. Spreading. Like it was still flowing from somewhere. But there was no source. I ran to the bathroom. Scrubbed my hands. Checked my body again. Nothing. I called the host. It was 3 a.m., but I didn't care. She answered, groggy. Hello. There's something wrong with the bed. I said, voice shaking. It's covered in, I don't know. It looks like blood. Silence. It's probably the pipes, she said finally. Old house. Rusty water. Happens sometimes. This isn't rust, I said. I'll send someone in the morning. Just sleep on the couch. She hung up. I didn't sleep on the couch. I didn't sleep at all. I sat in my car in the driveway until sunrise, door locked, engine running. When light came, I went back inside. The bed was clean, completely clean. No stains, no dampness. The sheets were white, crisp, like they'd just been laundered. I thought I was going insane. I checked my hands, no residue. I smelled the sheets, nothing, just detergent. But I'd seen it, felt it, smelled it. I grabbed my phone. I'd taken photos. I was sure of it. I opened my camera roll. The photos were there. Red sheets, dark stains, close-ups of the mattress soaked through. Proof. I wasn't crazy. But if the photos were real, where did the blood go? I called the host again. She didn't answer. I texted the photos. No response. I should have left. But it was daylight. The house looked harmless. I convinced myself it was some weird prank. Bad joke. Maybe the host was testing me. I stayed. That night, I locked myself in the bathroom, brought blankets, slept in the tub. Around 2 a.m., I woke to dripping. Slow, rhythmic, water hitting tile. I opened my eyes. The bathroom mirror was fogged, condensation dripping down. But I hadn't showered, hadn't run hot water. I sat up. On the mirror, written in the condensation, 2 words. Get out. I didn't pack, didn't grab my things. I ran, barefoot, in pajamas, straight to my car. I drove until I found a gas station, called my friend, told her everything. She thought I was having a breakdown. Maybe I was. But the next morning, I got a text from the host. You checked out early. Everything okay? I sent her the photos, the blood, the message. She replied, "What photos? These are blank." I checked. The images were gone. Corrupted files. Gray squares. But I'd seen them. I swear I'd seen them. I reported it to Airbnb. They said I'd left a 5-star review and checked out on time. I never wrote a review. I looked up the house recently. It's still listed. New photos. Same place. One review from a month ago. Beautiful location, but I had the worst nightmares here. Woke up feeling like I was drowning. Another strange experience. Felt very unwelcome. I don't know what's in that house, but something wanted me gone, and I'm grateful I listened. I should have trusted my gut about that basement. The moment I saw that padlock, that chain, that handwritten warning, I should have gotten back in my car and driven away, but I didn't, and now I can't forget what I heard down there. Let me back up. I was driving cross-country, California to Pennsylvania, solo road trip, taking my time, seeing America, all that romanticized nonsense people do when they're running from something. In my case, a failed engagement and a lease I couldn't break fast enough. By day 4, I was somewhere in rural Kansas, middle of nowhere, endless fields, towns with populations under 500. I needed a place to sleep that wasn't my car, and the nearest motel was 80 miles away. I found a farmhouse on Airbnb. Cheap, available immediately. The photos showed a classic prairie home, white clapboard, front porch, surrounded by cornfields. Peaceful rural retreat, the listing said. Experience authentic country living. The host's name was Dale. His profile had 3 reviews, all 5 stars. Quiet place. Good for a stopover. Host wasn't around, but everything was easy. That last part sold me. I didn't want to make small talk. I just wanted a bed. I arrived around 7 p.m. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and purple. The farmhouse looked tired, paint peeling, shutters hanging crooked. But it was standing, and that was enough. There was no one there, just a lockbox on the door with a code Dale had texted me. A handwritten note taped to the kitchen table. Make yourself at home. Bed's upstairs. Leave the key in the lockbox when you go. Dale. Simple. Easy. Perfect. I made a sandwich, checked my phone. Barely any signal, and explored the house. 2 bedrooms upstairs. Bathroom with an old clawfoot tub. Living room with furniture from the 70s. Everything smelled like dust and old fabric. Then I saw the basement door. It was in the kitchen. Wooden. Painted white but chipped and worn. And it was padlocked. Heavy chain wrapped through the handle and around a metal loop bolted into the doorframe. New lock. Shiny. The chain was thick, industrial grade. Taped to the door was a piece of paper. Handwritten in frantic, uneven letters. Do not open. Do not go down there. Do not touch the lock. I stared at it. My first thought was meth lab. My second thought was get out. But it was dark now. I was exhausted. And logically, if something illegal was down there, would the host really rent out the house? I convinced myself it was just old house paranoia. Maybe the stairs were unstable. Maybe there was mold. Maybe Dale was just overly cautious. I went upstairs, locked the bedroom door, tried to sleep. Around midnight I heard it, scratching, faint at first, like a mouse in the walls. I ignored it. Old house, pests, normal. But then it got louder, rhythmic, deliberate, fingernails on wood, coming from below. I sat up in bed, listened. The scratching continued, steady, insistent. Then I heard the whispers. I can't explain it. Not one voice, multiple, overlapping, too muffled to make out words. But the tone was clear, pleading, desperate. My skin crawled. I told myself it was the wind, the house settling, my imagination running wild after a long day of driving. But I didn't believe it. I grabbed my phone, no signal. Of course. I turned on the bedroom light, checked the window. Nothing but cornfields stretching into darkness. The scratching stopped. Silence. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. Then I heard footsteps. Not above me. Below me. In the basement. Slow. Heavy. Creaking on wooden stairs. Climbing. My heart stopped. The footsteps reached the top of the basement stairs. Right beneath my room. Then silence again. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just sat there, clutching my phone, staring at the bedroom door. An hour passed. Maybe more. The adrenaline made time blur. Then the scratching started again. Louder now. Frantic. And the whispers came back. Clearer this time. Help us. Please. Let us out. I started crying. I don't know why. Terror. Exhaustion. The absolute wrongness of it all. I wanted to leave. But to get to my car, I'd have to go downstairs. Past the kitchen. Past the basement door. I couldn't do it. I stayed in that room until the sun came up. At 6 a.m., when light finally broke through the window, the noises stopped. Complete silence. I packed my bag, hands shaking. I crept downstairs, moving as quickly and quietly as possible. The basement door was still chained, still locked, but something was different. The note was on the floor, torn, like someone had ripped it off from the inside, and there were scratches on the door, fresh ones, long, deep gouges running down the white paint. From the inside, I didn't stop to think. I grabbed my keys and ran. I reported it to Airbnb, told them everything. They said they'd look into it. 2 days later, I got a message. The host has denied your claims. The property has been inspected and nothing unusual was found. I called the local police in that Kansas town, gave them the address, begged them to check the basement. They said they'd send someone. I never heard back. I tried to find news articles, missing persons reports, anything connected to that address. Nothing. But I did find one thing, an old property record. The farmhouse belonged to Dale's family for generations. In 1987, his father was investigated for holding 2 drifters captive in the basement. Charges were dropped. Lack of evidence. The drifters were never found. I don't know what was in that basement, but I know what I heard. And I know something wanted out. I still hear the scratching sometimes. When I'm falling asleep. In my apartment. In the walls. I tell myself it's just pipes. Just the building settling. But I don't believe it. And I never will. I hate that I ignored the daughter's warning. She tried to save me. She really did. And I just smiled and thought she was being dramatic. Teenage angst. Overreacting. I was so wrong. Let me back up. I was in Austin for a music festival 3 nights in March. Hotels were insanely expensive, so I went with Airbnb. Found a listing for a guest room in a family home. Cheap, close to downtown. The photos showed a normal suburban house. Clean, comfortable, family-friendly. The hosts were Mark and Linda, married couple, mid-40s. They had a teenage daughter named Emma. The reviews were glowing. Such warm hosts. Felt like family. The daughter even baked us cookies. It sounded perfect. I arrived on a Thursday afternoon. The house was in a quiet neighborhood. Tree-lined streets, well-kept lawns, the kind of place where people wave at each other. Mark answered the door. Big smile. Firm handshake. You must be Rachel. Come in. Come in. Linda appeared behind him, equally cheerful. We're so excited to have you. Let us show you around. They were nice. Really nice. The kind of nice that felt rehearsed. Scripted. Like they were performing hospitality rather than offering it. But I was tired from the drive. I ignored the feeling. They showed me the guest room. Small, clean, floral bedspread. The usual. Shared bathroom down the hall. Kitchen access anytime. Make yourself at home, Mark said. We're just happy to have you. Emma, their daughter, watched from the hallway. She didn't smile. Didn't speak. Just stared at me with wide, terrified eyes. Emma, say hello, Linda said, her smile never faltering. Emma opened her mouth, closed it, then looked at the floor. She's shy, Mark explained, laughing it off. But Emma wasn't shy. She was scared. That evening we had dinner together. They insisted. We love getting to know our guests. It was awkward. They asked too many questions. Where was I from? Did I live alone? Was anyone expecting me in Austin? Who knew I was here? I answered politely, but my discomfort grew with every question. Emma barely ate. She kept glancing at me, at her parents, back at me. After dinner, I went to my room. I was exhausted. I just wanted to sleep. Around 10 p.m., I heard a soft knock. I opened the door. Emma stood there, pale, trembling. "Hi," I said. "Everything okay?" She looked down the hall, then back at me. She shoved a folded piece of paper into my hand. "Read it," she whispered. "Please." Then she disappeared into her room. I unfolded the note. In shaky handwriting, "Leave tonight. Don't stay. I'm sorry. Please." My stomach dropped. I stood there staring at the note. Was this a joke? A prank? But Emma's face. She'd been terrified. I thought about leaving, packing up, making an excuse. But it was late. I was tired. And logically, what was I afraid of? A weird teenager? I told myself she was just messing with me, playing games. I went to bed. That was my mistake. I woke up to breathing, not my own. I opened my eyes. Mark and Linda were standing at the foot of my bed, just standing there, staring, not moving, not blinking. I screamed. They didn't react, didn't flinch, just kept staring. I scrambled for the light switch. My hand hit the lamp. Light flooded the room. They were gone. I jumped out of bed, checked the door. It was locked. From the inside, the way I'd left it. But they'd been there. I'd seen them. My hands shook as I checked the closet. The bathroom, under the bed, empty. I pressed my ear to the door. Silence. I unlocked it, cracked it open. Emma was in the hallway, sitting against the wall, crying. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I tried to warn you. They do this. They always do this." "Do what?" I whispered. "Watch," she said. "They watch the guests. At night, they just stand there. I don't know why. I've told them to stop. I've begged them, but they don't listen." My blood turned cold. "How long has this been happening?" "Years," Emma said. "I don't know how many guests. They delete the bad reviews, report the ones who complain, make it seem like I'm the crazy one." I packed my bag. Right then. I didn't wait for morning. Emma followed me downstairs. "Please don't leave me here," she whispered. "Call someone," I said. "Family, friends, the police." "I've tried," she said. "No one believes me. They think I'm making it up. My parents are too normal." I didn't know what to say. I felt horrible leaving her. But I couldn't stay. I got in my car, drove straight to a motel. The next morning, I reported it to Airbnb. I told them everything. The note, the parents, Emma. They said they'd investigate. 2 weeks later, I got a response. "The hosts have denied your claims. The listing remains active." I tried to leave a review. It was deleted. I searched for the listing recently. It's still up. Same photos, same description, but there are no reviews anymore. None at all. I tried to find Emma. Social media, school records, nothing. It's like she doesn't exist. But I still have her note. Kept it. And sometimes late at night I wonder if she's still there. Still trying to warn guests. Still hoping someone will believe her. I can still smell it. That rotten, decaying, suffocating smell that seeped through the floorboards and clung to my skin, my clothes, my hair. No amount of showers could wash it off. Followed me home. Still follows me. Let me back up. I was in Prague for a solo trip. Early December. Cold. Gray. Beautiful in that Eastern European melancholic way. I booked a studio apartment for a week. Cheap. Central location. Walking distance to Old Town Square. The listing didn't mention it was above a butcher shop. I arrived on a Monday evening. The address led me to a narrow cobblestone street. Old buildings pressed together. Shutters closed. Everything quiet. The butcher shop was on the ground floor. Windows fogged. A hand-painted sign in Czech I couldn't read. Closed for the day. The entrance to the apartment was a separate door beside the shop. I unlocked it, climbed the narrow, creaking stairs. The studio was small. One room, kitchenette in the corner. Bathroom barely big enough to turn around in. But it was clean, warm, good enough. I unpacked, made tea, sat by the window and watched the street below. That's when I noticed the smell. Faint at first, metallic, organic. I figured it was from the butcher shop. Old meat, poor ventilation, occupational hazard of staying above a place that sells raw animal flesh. I opened a window, lit a candle, tried to ignore it, but by the next morning it was stronger. Sweet, putrid, the kind of smell that coats the back of your throat and makes you gag. I couldn't eat breakfast, couldn't focus. I left the apartment, spent the whole day outside, exploring the city, breathing fresh air. When I came back that night, the smell was unbearable. I texted the host. There's a really strong smell in the apartment. I think it's coming from the butcher shop below. He responded an hour later. Yes, old building. Smell is normal. Sorry for inconvenience. Normal? I opened every window. The temperature dropped to near freezing, but I didn't care. I'd rather be cold than suffocate. I tried to sleep, covered my face with a pillow, breathed through my mouth, but the smell seeped into my dreams. I dreamed of rotting meat, of things decomposing, of being buried alive in something wet and decaying. I woke up at 3 a.m., gagging. The smell was worse, concentrated, coming from inside the room. I turned on the light. That's when I saw the stain. On the floor, beside the bed, a large, dark patch barely covered by a small rug. I pulled back the rug. The stain was massive, brownish black. The wood was rotted through, soft and damp to the touch. I pressed my hand against it. It was sticky. I jerked my hand back, stomach churning. I knelt down, looked closer. There was a hole, small, but deep enough to see through. I pulled out my phone, turned on the flashlight, peered through the gap. The room below was dark, but I saw shapes, hanging, swaying slightly. At first, I thought they were animal carcasses. Sides of beef, pork, that would make sense. Butcher shop, but the shapes were wrong. Too tall, too narrow. I moved the light, and I saw a hand. Human, pale, fingers curled. I dropped the phone, scrambled backward, hit the wall. Couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I grabbed my bag, didn't pack, just grabbed my passport, my wallet, my phone. I ran down the stairs, threw open the door, and stumbled into the street. I found a 24-hour cafe, sat there until morning, shaking, crying, trying to convince myself I'd imagined it. But I hadn't. At 8 a.m., I went to the police, tried to explain in broken English and desperate hand gestures. They came with me. For officers, they checked the apartment, checked the butcher shop, found nothing. There is no hole in floor, one officer said. I insisted, showed them exactly where it was. The floor was solid. No stain, no rot, no hole. You are mistaken, they said. The butcher, an old man with cold eyes, stood in the doorway watching. He didn't say anything, just smiled. I reported it to Airbnb, sent photos I'd taken of the stain, the hole. They said the photos were inconclusive. The listing is still active. I checked last month. New reviews, great location. Host was helpful. Quirky old building. No one mentions the smell. No one mentions the stain. But I found something else. A news article from 5 years ago. 3 people went missing in Prague. All tourists. All stayed in apartments in that neighborhood. Never found. I don't know what I saw, but I know what I smelled. And I know I'll never go back. I found someone else's things in my room. That's how it started. A men's jacket draped over the chair. Shaving kit on the bathroom counter. Suitcase half unpacked in the corner. Clothes spilling out. Someone was staying here, or had been. But the host said the room was empty. Let me back up. I needed to get away. Winter break. January. I wanted snow, solitude, mountains. I found a lodge in the Cascades. Remote, beautiful, affordable. The listing showed a rustic A-frame with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking snowy peaks. Perfect for solo retreats, it said. The host's name was David. Older guy, maybe 60s. Lived on the property in a separate cabin. His reviews were decent. Quiet place. Beautiful views. Host keeps to himself. That last part sounded ideal. I arrived on a Friday afternoon. The drive up was treacherous. Icy roads, no guardrails, steep drops. But the lodge was worth it. Stunning. Exactly like the photos. David met me outside. Gruff. Weathered face. Didn't smile. Just handed me the keys and pointed toward the main lodge. Your room's upstairs. Second door on the right. I'm in the back cabin if you need anything. Cell service is spotty up here. Thanks, I said. He nodded and walked away. I grabbed my bag and headed inside. The lodge was beautiful. Stone fireplace. Wooden beams. Huge windows framing the mountains. Cozy and warm. I climbed the stairs to my room. That's when I saw them. The jacket. The suitcase. The shaving kit. I stood in the doorway, confused. I pulled out my phone, 1 bar of service, and called David. Hey, there's someone's stuff in my room. I think maybe the last guest forgot their things. Silence. There is no last guest, he said. Room's been empty for 2 weeks. But there's a suitcase. Clothes. A jacket. Someone's definitely. I'll be right there. He hung up. 5 minutes later, David was at my door. He looked at the belongings. His face went pale. Where did these come from? He asked quietly. They were here when I arrived. You said no one's been here. He picked up the jacket, checked the pockets, pulled out a wallet. He opened it, stared at the ID inside. This isn't possible, he whispered. What? Who is it? He didn't answer, just pocketed the wallet and grabbed the suitcase. I'll move this stuff. You can stay in the other room. Wait, whose things are these? Doesn't matter, he said, avoiding my eyes. I'll handle it. He left, took everything with him. I moved to the other room, tried to shake off the weirdness. Maybe it was a mix-up. Maybe the previous guest came back for their stuff and David forgot. But something felt wrong. That night I couldn't sleep. The lodge was too quiet, too isolated. Around 1 a.m., I heard water running. I sat up, listened. The shower. In the bathroom down the hall. Someone was showering. I crept to my door, opened it a crack. Steam poured out from under the bathroom door. The sound of water hitting tile. But I was alone. David was in his cabin. I'd watched him walk back there hours ago. Hello, I called out. The water stopped. Silence. I waited, heart pounding. The bathroom door opened. No one came out, but the mirror inside, I could see it from the hallway, was fogged over. And written in the condensation in large, frantic letters, "Help me." I slammed my door, locked it, pushed the dresser in front of it. I tried calling David. No service. I tried 911. Nothing. I sat on the bed, shaking, staring at the door, waiting for morning. Around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps. In the hallway. Slow. Heavy. Stopping outside my door. The doorknob turned. Rattled. The dresser held. Then, a voice. Muffled. Desperate. Please. Let me out. Please. A man's voice. I didn't respond. Didn't move. The footsteps retreated. At dawn, I shoved the dresser aside and ran downstairs. David was already there, making coffee, acting like nothing happened. I'm leaving, I said. Why? What happened? Someone was here last night. In the shower. In the hallway. I heard them. David's face went hard. There's no one here. I saw the message. On the mirror. Help me. Someone's here. He sighed. Rubbed his face. Sit down. I'm not. Sit. Down. I sat. He pulled out the wallet from yesterday. Showed me the ID. Eric Brennan. 34 years old. From Seattle. He stayed here 6 weeks ago, David said quietly. Checked in for 3 nights. Never checked out. I found his car still parked outside on the 4th day. Keys in the ignition. phone on the seat. But no Eric. My blood ran cold. I called the police. They searched everywhere. The woods, the trails, nothing. He just vanished. Then whose stuff was in my room? I don't know, David said. I packed everything up, stored it in my cabin. I don't know how it got back in that room. Have other guests seen things? Heard things? He hesitated, then nodded. 3 people since Eric disappeared. All reported experiences. Hearing someone in the shower, seeing his belongings reappear, feeling watched. And you keep renting the place? I need the income, he said. And nothing's ever hurt anyone. It's just strange. I left that morning. Didn't wait for a refund. Didn't argue. I reported everything to Airbnb. They investigated. Found no evidence of wrongdoing. But I did my own research. Eric Brennan is still missing. His family has a Facebook page. Desperate pleas for information. I contacted them, told them everything. His sister called me, crying. You're the 4th person to report seeing his things, she said. Airbnb won't do anything. The police closed the case. They think he walked into the woods and got lost. But you don't think so? No, she whispered. I think he's still there. I think he never left. I think she's right. Because 2 weeks after I got home, I received a package. No return address. Inside, a men's jacket, the same one from the lodge. And a note, handwritten. Thank you for trying. I don't know how it got to me. I don't know what it means. But I still have it. And sometimes late at night I hear water running. Even though I live alone. Even though my shower is off. I think Eric found a way out. I just don't think he came back alone. I thought the neighbor was flirting at first. Then I realized he was hunting. And I was the prey. Let me back up. I was in Brooklyn for a work trip. 5 nights in August. My company booked me a trendy loft in Williamsburg. Industrial vibes, exposed brick, huge windows overlooking an alley. The photos looked amazing. Urban, cool, safe. The listing didn't mention the neighbor. I arrived on a Monday evening. The loft was on the 4th floor. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and immediately fell in love. High ceilings, natural light pouring in, minimalist furniture, perfect. I dropped my bags and walked to the window. That's when I saw him, across the alley, maybe 20 feet away, in the building directly opposite mine. A man, early 30s, dark hair, good-looking in that effortless Brooklyn way. He was standing at his window, looking right at me. We made eye contact. He smiled, raised his hand, waved. I smiled back, waved. Polite neighbor interaction. Normal. I closed the curtains halfway and started unpacking. The next morning, I made coffee. Stood at the window watching the city wake up. He was there again. Same spot, same window, watching. When he saw me looking, he waved again. Held up his own coffee mug. Mouthed good morning. I laughed, waved back. Felt friendly, harmless. But then he didn't leave. He just stood there, watching me drink my coffee, watching me check my phone, watching me exist. I closed the curtains. That night, I was working on my laptop at the dining table. The curtains were still closed. Around 9 p.m., I heard a knock. I opened the door. It was him. Hey, he said, smiling. I'm your neighbor. Across the way. I saw you moved in. Just wanted to say hi. Oh, hi. Thanks. I'm Kyle. Rachel. He leaned against the doorframe. Casual. Too casual. You here alone? The question sent a chill down my spine. Yeah. Just for work. Cool. Well, if you need anything, recommendations, directions, whatever, I'm right across the alley. You know where to find me. Thanks. He lingered, looked past me into the loft. Nice place. Yeah. You should keep your curtains open. The light's better. I forced a smile. I like my privacy. His smile faltered. Just for a second. Right? Well, see you around. He left. I locked the door. Deadbolt. Chain. Everything. The next morning, I opened the curtains without thinking. He was already there, watching. I closed them immediately. For the next 2 days, I kept the curtains shut. But I felt him, on the other side, waiting. On Thursday night, I came back from dinner around 10 p.m. He knocked again. I didn't answer. "Rachel," his voice through the door. "I know you're in there. I saw you come home." My stomach dropped. "I just wanted to check on you. Make sure you're okay." I stayed silent. "Okay, well, good night." I heard his footsteps retreat. I checked the peephole. He was gone. But when I looked out the window, he was back in his apartment, staring directly at my door. I called the host, told her about Kyle, how he kept watching, kept showing up. "Kyle?" she said, confused. "There's no one in that building. Has been condemned for 2 years. Scheduled for demolition." My blood turned to ice. "That's impossible. I've seen him. He's knocked on my door twice." "I don't know who you saw," she said, "but no one lives there." I looked out the window. The building across the alley was dark, boarded up, windows shattered. But on the 4th floor, directly across from me, one window was intact. And Kyle was standing there, watching. I called the police. They arrived 20 minutes later. I showed them the building, the window, told them everything. They checked the building. Forced entry. Came back an hour later. "There's no one inside," the officer said. "Building's empty. Floors are rotted through. No one's been in there for years." But I saw him. He knocked on my door. We checked the stairwell. No footprints. No signs of entry. Then who did I see? The officer looked uncomfortable. "Ma'am, is it possible you imagined?" "I didn't imagine anything." They left. Said to call if I saw him again. I packed my bags. Left that night. Got a hotel. But before I left, I looked out the window one last time. Kyle was there, holding something. Piece of paper, pressed against the glass. In thick black letters. "See you again soon." I reported it to Airbnb. They refunded me, took down the listing. But Kyle didn't stop. 3 weeks later, I was home in Chicago. I saw him in a coffee shop, across the street, watching. I saw him outside my gym, standing in the parking lot, smiling. I saw him on the train, 2 cars down, staring. I filed a police report, restraining order. They couldn't serve him. No address, no last name, no record of anyone named Kyle matching his description. I moved apartments, changed my routine, but I still see him sometimes. In crowds, across streets, in reflections, always watching, always smiling, and I don't know how to make him stop. I couldn't leave. That's the part that still terrifies me. Not what I heard, not what I saw, but the fact that the house wouldn't let me go. Let me back up. I was in Ireland, County Clare, early November, solo writing retreat. I'm a freelance journalist, and I just finished a brutal project. I needed quiet, solitude, the kind of peace you can only find in the Irish countryside. I found a cottage on Airbnb, stone walls, thatched roof, sitting alone on a cliff overlooking the Atlantic. The photos were stunning, isolated, dramatic, exactly what I needed. The host's name was Maeve. Her profile said she lived in the village, 5 miles away. The cottage had been in her family for generations. A place of deep history, her listing said, perfect for reflection and creativity. I booked it for a week. The drive from Shannon Airport was beautiful. Rolling green hills, stone walls, sheep everywhere. The cottage appeared at the end of a narrow, muddy lane, perched on the edge of a cliff, waves crashing below. It was perfect. Maeve wasn't there. Just a key in a lockbox and a handwritten note on the kitchen table. "Welcome. Help yourself to anything. Turf for the fire is in the shed. I'll check in midweek. Enjoy the solitude." Maeve. I unpacked, made tea, sat by the window and watched the ocean. The sound of the waves was hypnotic. That first night, I slept like the dead. The next 3 days were blissful. I wrote. I walked the cliffs. I read by the fire. It was everything I'd hoped for. On the 4th day, I decided to leave a day early. I'd gotten more work done than expected. I missed my apartment, my routine. I packed my suitcase, loaded my car, walked to the front door. It wouldn't open. I turned the handle, pulled. Nothing. I checked the lock. It wasn't engaged. The door just wouldn't budge. I tried the back door. Same thing. Locked from the outside. Confused, I checked the windows. Every single one was latched shut. But not by me. I tried to open them. They wouldn't move, like they were sealed. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Of course. I told myself not to panic. This was an old house. Doors swell. Locks stick. I call Maeve once I got signal. But I couldn't get signal because I couldn't leave. I tried everything. Shoulder to the door. Knife in the window latch. I even considered breaking a window. But something stopped me. A feeling. A certainty that breaking something would make it worse. For 3 days I was trapped. I survived on what was in the fridge. Bread, cheese, some eggs. I rationed carefully. I tried the doors every hour. Nothing. I screamed for help. But the cottage was isolated. No one came. On the second night I heard it. Singing. A woman's voice. Old. Haunting. Singing in Irish. I didn't understand the words. But the melody was beautiful. Sad. Came from the walls. Or maybe below the floor. Couldn't tell. It went on for hours. Lulling. Hypnotic. I fell asleep to it. The third night, the voice came again. But this time, I understood one word. Stay. Repeated over and over. Stay. 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 On the third morning, I woke to silence. I walked to the front door. Tried the handle. It opened. Just like that. I grabbed my bags and ran. Didn't look back. Didn't lock up. Just ran to my car and drove. I called Maeve from the village. I'm so sorry, I said. I had to leave early. There was something wrong with the doors. They wouldn't open. What do you mean? She asked. They were locked. From the outside. For 3 days. Silence. That's impossible, she said quietly. The cottage doesn't have exterior locks. I was trapped. When did you leave? This morning. Thursday. Another pause. You checked out on Tuesday, she said. According to my records, you left a 5-star review. I didn't. I've been there until today. My system shows you checked out Tuesday at 10 a.m. I checked my bank statement. She was right. Payment processed. Checkout confirmed. But I'd been there. I looked at my Airbnb account. There was a review. Under my name. Posted Tuesday. 5 stars. Beautiful cottage. So peaceful. I never wanted to leave. I didn't write that. I tried to explain. She said I must be confused. Mistaken. But I wasn't. I contacted Airbnb. They said their records showed I'd checked out on time. Everything was normal. I gave up trying to convince anyone. But I know what happened. I was kept there. Held. By something that didn't want me to leave. And I think it let me go only because I was running out of food. I still have nightmares about that cottage. About being trapped. About the singing. And sometimes late at night I hear it. That voice. Singing. The same melody. The same word. Stay. Is calling me back. And part of me, the part that felt that hypnotic pull, wants to listen. But I won't. Because I know if I go back, I'll never leave again.